Today is Tuesday and it is the 15th of October, so we're now at the midpoint of the month. I wanted to talk about A Struggle for Fame by Carla Riddell, which has definitely sold me now. So I am about 50 pages into this, and there's a conversation with a man called Mr. Vasseret, I think is his name. He is a publisher. Mr. Bassett. He's a publisher, and he is introduced in a chapter, and he's sort of tired of the world of publishing. He pretty much freely admits that he is not interested in geniuses. He's not interested in someone sort of making a big splash. He calls it firework publishing, in that publishers who just sort of wait for the next big thing. Instead, he talks about how he rather prefers to publish people who are good at their craft, basically. So he says, in general, the whole parts with him about the publishing of the time has been super interesting. He had no faith in firework publishing, and truth to tell, he had very little faith in genius either. He believed, if he believed in anything as regards authors, in plotting. Compilations, reminiscences, biographies, travels, historical romances, and such like, he looked upon with a certain favor. He could understand how they were done and why. He was able to trace the method by which such webs of literary industry were woven. He could mark the progress of the bussy shuttle and predicate the result which would be produced by any practiced hand. But to make something out of nothing, to write a book not from observation but from pure imagination, to create characters and then make them move and speak and act like men and women, it was very odd, Mr. Bassett considered. Very odd indeed. He also says something about writing that I found very funny. The heroine of this book, whose name is Glenn, who I've mentioned before, the one who is moving from Ireland because she lost her mother and she's trying to make it in the world. She is an aspiring writer, and she has gone to the publisher, Mr. Bassett, to bring him a piece of her writing, and wants to have basically advice on how to get better. Literature, he began speaking in a general and didactic manner, is, so far as I am aware, the only profession in which persons imagine they can embark without the smallest training or preparation, or the remotest idea of the labor involved in producing an even moderately successful work. Next month is NaNoWriMo, and I'm planning to participate, so I think I am enjoying the parts of this book that is about the publishing world and about Glenn wanting to become a writer, especially at this point in time. I feel like I could almost forget that this was from the Victorian era because of the interactions and the conversations and dialogues feel quite modern to me. So that has been really fun. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I really like it. And with Adam Bede, I have now started on the fourth book. It is, as I've said previously, Adam Bede is divided into 6 books, and the entire third one is only about one single day or one party, a birthday party for the squire of the community. There's so many like smaller conflicts going on in this one place of the birthday party, and so it's basically just this event that gathers the whole community in one location, and therefore, even though it's only one day, there's several chapters just about that one day and everything going on in that span of time. So that was really interesting. But as I said, I have started the fourth book now, so I am more than halfway through, and I have finally past the yoke part of my sweater. You can see there's an actual like armhole now, because I've started to work on the body below the armholes. So I'm happy that I finally passed the split part, because it feels like I've made more progress having actually passed that stage. Adam Bede has taken an interesting turn. So yesterday I think I read the 26th chapter or the 27th or both. So it's the beginning of the fourth book of Adam Bede, and after the birthday party for Arthur, the squire of this little town that Adam Bede is set in, there is a conflict that takes a quite sort of surprising turn in terms of the seriousness of the conflict, and I'm so happy that even having read more than 300 pages of George Eliot's writing, she can still surprise me with the way that this book goes, and sort of the kind of places she's willing to go with her writing. So far, I feel like with each new chapter and with the further I get into Adam Bede, the more I can appreciate George Eliot's writing, and in particular her characterization and the development of them. I think I showed you previously my sweater, but it is coming along nicely. It is now looking like this, so you can almost tell that it's an actual sweater, and I think I will work slightly more on the body and then move on to working one of the sleeves, because I personally am not a fan of knitting sleeves. I think for me, knitting sleeves is a little bit like knitting the other sock. I tend to put it off, and Great Expectations is interesting as well. I'm really enjoying it. I think one of the reasons I'm really enjoying it is the narration by Simon Prebble. His voice really feels like Pip's voice to me. It feels very personal. But after Pip has been to this older woman's house and his interactions with the niece, he sort of starts to look at himself and his lot in life in a different light, because she sort of laughed at him, at his shortcomings. He starts to question a lot of the things that he was proud of or didn't care about, and now he starts to sort of feel like he isn't good enough, and he starts to judge his uncle or his sister's husband differently, and all of those things. So he's I feel like that could make him unlikable in the way that he reacts to and starts judging other people based on one person's words. But I think it captures a thing of being a teenager and constantly comparing yourself and what you have and what you don't have with other people. That has been a nice thing to see, that Pip is not just this really good goody-goody person, but that he actually has his own flaws and is growing, and through the growing process he also has some less attractive sides to him. We're chilling a little bit because I need a little bit of a break from watching a screen all day, and this guy has needed some attention. Hey. Today is Saturday and it is currently the afternoon, and I am taking a chill afternoon after having done some studying and other things earlier today. And so I'm sitting down to read for a little bit and probably watch some K-drama as well, because after hearing Mel talk a lot about her watching of K-dramas with her daughter, I've been sort of in the mood. I think I will probably continue with the one that I'm currently watching, which is called something Camellia, When the Camellia Blooms, I think it is, and really enjoying it so far. But the two books that I have that I am reading at the moment is A Struggle for Fame by Charles Riddell, and I have made it, I think, 60 pages in. Yeah, can't remember if I've said this before, but Mr. Kelly is one of the passengers in the train in one of the early scenes of this book, and he is going to go to a job interview, and he accidentally angers the person that he would be interviewed by before getting to the interview. So far it's been very fun to read, but it is a very large oversized paperback, and I'm not loving that because I still find that a bit hurdlesome to carry around and to hold. But yeah, so that is the Victober book that I am reading from this evening or this afternoon. And also I'm reading this one, Past-Mortems, Life and Death Behind Mortuary Doors, by Carla Valentine. And this is a memoir of a, what is it called? An autopsy technician, autopsy pathology technician, basically someone who does an autopsy, and it is really interesting so far. I'm actually reading this for my nonfiction reading challenge, but yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit and watch a little bit of K-drama and then eat some dinner. Hi everyone, today is Sunday the 20th of October. Already I have no idea where the time went, but that happened. I'm working on the second sleeve of my Albini cardigan, which I've shown you before. So anyway, today is Sunday and it is the last day of the third week of October and the third vlog as well. This might be the last time that I update for this week, for this weekly vlog. But obviously tomorrow is the start of the last week of October, and I don't think I will actually vlog the last days because I have a presentation the 30th and I don't think I will have the peace of mind to film those last days. So instead I think I will just keep it from Monday to Sunday next week and then be done with it. So yeah, so next week is going to be the last week that I for me for Victober, and I think I will definitely try to make like a bigger effort in actually getting through my Victober TBR. So with at Bede, I only have about 200 pages left, and it's so easy to listen to. I feel like I barely noticed that I've already read 400 pages. And then with Great Expectations, I'm about a fifth of the way through. I have listened a lot today already in the morning while I've been doing things on the computer. I've been listening to Great Expectations, and at the moment we've just passed a point with Miss Havisham and Estrella where basically they give money to Pip's family and sort of kick him out from his work there, and he doesn't seem very happy about it because he realizes that he doesn't want to be a blacksmith. And he doesn't want to upset Joe by saying that he doesn't want to take over from him and learn from him. He wants to do something else, and he's sort of in Pip is sort of in a confusion about his future and what he wants to do with his life. A Struggle for Fame is the one that I've made least progress in. Whenever I'm stressed out, whenever I feel anxious or what have you, knitting is the thing that relaxes me. It isn't reading, sadly. It can be, but usually for me, when I'm very stressed out, I have a hard time focusing on a story or a book. And so for me, it really helps to have knitting to wind me down. And when I can combine the two, that's even better. So when I'm a bit overwhelmed, I tend to want to knit more. And also have two projects on the go that I'm loving, so that helps. Struggle for Fame, I am really enjoying it, and it's about 400 pages, so I have still almost made it to a fourth of the book. So if I could just make sure that I read at least 50 pages a day, then I should probably have no issues in finishing it. But I do really want to pick up my nature book as well. What is it called? More About Wild Nature by Eliza Brightwin. because it's a vintage book, it is, I think the copy I have is from 1 or 2 years after its original publication, or if it isn't a first, it might even be a first. I'm gonna check that. Be right back. A note from the giver in 1895. So you don't get things like this in new books, obviously, because they're new. I would really like to get to it, and it is 260 pages. So it shouldn't be very difficult. It's just the fact that because it is a vintage edition, I don't really want to carry it around in a bag, and I don't really want to read it when I eat or anything like that. So it sort of limits the time that I can read it in. But I think maybe if I can read it in the evenings, just before I go to bed, that could work. So the other books that I have on my TBR, I don't think I'm going to get to, because for one reason or another. So Gothic Tales, I had to cancel the order because it was so delayed in the shipping. The Sorrows of Satan and The Haunted Stradivarius are both books that I really want to read, but I have not been in the mood for ebooks at the moment because I spend so much time watching screens for my studying. I just have not been wanting to read more. I've not been wanting to spend even more time on the screen when I'm reading and such. So it hasn't been something that I've been in the mood for this month. The only other book that I have on my TBR for Victober is Dracula to reread, and I still really want to reread it, but I don't think it will happen this month. I might put it to a rereading pile or TBR for next year. So I think I will leave it at that for this weekly vlog, week 3 of Victober. Thank you very much for watching. I realize these videos are very long, but I hope you have enjoyed seeing a little bit of my week and my life outside of BookTube, as well as hearing my rambles on the books that I am reading for Victober. Please feel free to share how your reading has gone for Victober, and any books you've really, any new favorites that you found, or if you found any books that you really didn't like me with The Turn of the Screw. Let me know, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye.